so often, not only at home, but also in business, we do things that we think our customers will value, even though those are things that we would value individually or our company would value. And we haven't taken the time to get to know what the customer actually values in that relationship. The first step in understanding what is important to the customer is thinking about the issue from their perspective. And perhaps I might challenge you to maybe say that the next step will be to start talking to your customer and asking them what is actually important. What service or products can they provide in order to be more valuable to them?
Absolutely. I think that's spot on. Like in my mind, a lot of these supply houses, it's all going to end up going to Amazon. So like, how are we going to differentiate? How can we use our technical expertise, training opportunities, value added, distribution where we customize the equipment, fabricate it for the customer? Because otherwise we're going to get left behind.
And I know that Amazon probably delivers next day or the day after, but they're not showing up at 1 a.m. in the middle of the night to take that part, are they?
That's right. That's right.
I'd like to switch gears a little bit to the software side of the business. Everybody talks about recurring revenue businesses and how amazing they are. When you think about your business, of course, you like the recurring revenue nature as well. I mean, who doesn't? But when you think about which segment of the business that you're trying to grow the most, is it really is really what you're only looking at is the cohesiveness of providing the thermal solution to your customer? Do you balance that with the desire for more recurring revenue type business? How do you solve that? Because that would be a challenge for me personally, knowing that it's sure nice to have that check come in every month on the same day, as opposed to waiting for whenever your customers need products and whatnot.
Absolutely. And to throw one more complexity into that question, like in the commercial space, our service business that we primarily target industrial would actually compete with some of our great customers. So not only are you thinking about your customer, but you're also thinking about kind of the middlemen customers as well, and making sure that you don't want to, hey, I'm going to get this service contract that's recurring, but it's going to piss off my top mechanical contractor that buys a couple million of GP from me each year. So you're constantly like weighing, okay, what's the best for this situation? Because our contractors still want us to have that technical support, but they don't, want us to be jumping in front of them doing those service contracts. So
That is more, yeah, that is more complex. So thanks for letting me know how much more complex it was.
Yeah, and I think you see that in any business. There's always, your go-to-market strategy could be through, like a wholesaler. Like there's a lot of things where you just have to be careful, and you can differentiate and protect those important partners of yours through pricing. Contractors get this price if they're at a certain volume. End users get this price, so and they can mark you up and use you. So there's a lot of ways to do it. But I think to answer your question directly on how do you balance like what type of offering you provide to the customer, I think customers are, even in the B2B old school industrial space, are getting pretty wise on getting stuck in recurring software contracts that drive them nuts and that aren't really meeting their needs. So we do our best to just figure out what is it in the situation that's really bugging them, and then knowing that if we really take a good care of them with that, they're going to come back to us for the other items. So like in an industrial plant, a lot of them, even if they're down for an hour, it could be a couple $100,000. So maybe in that situation, I just need this part ASAP. So we'll like zip it up to them, but then they're like, oh wow, you guys have combustion technicians? Like, can you help us? Like, we want to work on our emissions. Can you come and test that and tune our burners for us? They're like, absolutely. And then, oh wow, you guys can automate it? Like, we're having a really hard time finding folks to like watch this heater at all times to make sure that our end product that we're manufacturing is perfect. So your software can automate that? Wonderful. And so I think through that, each situation may not be technically, recurring with a long-term contract, but because you take care of the customer and meeting them where they're at with their need, it's recurring because you've got a customer that wants to use you for all the different elements of your business.
Oh, and the stickiness is just increases so much. It's going to be much harder for them to find another vendor or supplier that can provide that suite of services and products that you do.
Absolutely. And it helps, I think, going back to our pricing, like what is it that the customer truly values? So maybe we get in there, we do our automation software and they love it, but hey, we want to be warned if the system's going to go out. So one of the things that's in R&D right now with us is remote monitoring. How can we monitor from our office what's going on in their plant and give them a call, a heads up before things start going, awry?
Oh my gosh, I'm sure the customers would pay a lot for that. We're not
My job.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we're such critical issues. I mean, if the boiler goes down or whatever, that's immediate impacts that you're feeling.
Absolutely.